Welcome, everyone, to this special webinar in how to drive greater value from sponsoring virtual events in partnership with Farm Journal Field Days and 7 Knots Digital. We are excited for today's session and have some all-star panelists presenting today who are experts at best delivering this topic. Now, I would like to hand over to James Karklins.
Thank you, Aaron, and it really is a pleasure to be here today as we get ready for the Farm Journal Field Days virtual event happening on August the 25th through to August the 27th. If you have not registered yet, please make sure you do so at farmjournalfielddays.com. I'm James Karklins, the president and founder of 7 Knots Digital. We are the experts in leading large-scale virtual events across numerous industries, leveraging the latest technology platforms. We are experts in virtual events, production, SEO, and social media. I have over 14 years of experience working in executive roles in business information, media, and events across Australia and the United States. We've worked with numerous companies on pivoting to virtual events during this crucial time where we're finding the demand is unlike ever before. I grew up working on my family's dairy farm in country South Australia, so I actually have a passion for the agricultural and farming industry and loved working on the farm and helping my uncle and grandfather growing up, except for having to wake up at 4 a.m. to milk the cows. That certainly wasn't much fun. I now live and work in the heart of New York City. And I'll introduce you to Jess Hartley.
Hello there, I'm Jess Hartley and I head up the customer journey and engagement with clients at 7 Knots Digital. Just to give you a little bit of background on myself, I've got 20 years event experience across a lot of different industry sectors and with lots of different types of organizations. So I've been lucky enough to work for pure event companies, publishers, not-for-profit charities, and governmental agencies as well. So I've got a lot of experience and knowledge in different types of events, different types of formats, and I've worked on everything from tiny, very niche training courses all the way up to large-scale conferences and expos. So there's very little I haven't seen. So virtual events is another very important format that I've been working with recently, given the current circumstances. And that's me.
Thank you. Thanks, Jess. And we're excited to be partnering with Farm Journal Media to help you maximize your presence at Farm Journal Field Days in August. So let's get started. Jess, tell us about what you're seeing with the rise of virtual events at the moment, given the coronavirus and the coming economic situation.
Absolutely. So everyone understands what an in-person event is, and indeed they are celebrated worldwide for the relational appeal, the face-to-face networking, the learning aspects. Unfortunately, with the current pandemic, we've seen businesses having to pivot to virtual event platforms to deliver their conferences, events, expos, and meetings, just to continually be able to reach their audiences. Initially, many professionals believed that there would be problems with that. You would not be able to replace face-to-face interaction. However, what we're seeing with our clients is they are reporting feeling more connected with their audiences and they're experiencing record engagement. So I think it's fair to say that virtual events have a real place in the industry, and I think they've created a firm footing now going forward. And I do believe that even after the pandemic, we're going to see a lot of virtual and hybrid events taking place.
Look, absolutely. And I think that the trend is going to continue. And we are seeing that virtual events are just as powerful as physical events. The platforms that we work with, we're seeing virtual events are up 1,000% since the start of COVID-19. Attendance numbers are also up as there's no travel limitations, so many with many events, and we're actually seeing a lot of people that are now able to attend events globally as well, which is attracting new audiences. What we do find is that virtual events benefit from more viewers, more shares, and the added value function of engaging continuing after the live event has taken place through on-demand services. We also find that virtual events are a fraction of the cost of an in-person event that can attract more connections. So we're all used to this now with FaceTime, Zoom, etc., and video calls have become the norm. And it's just so much easier to participate in a virtual environment without having to leave your home or office.
One of the most important benefits with virtual events is the ability to track leads and measure the event performance and, of course, gauge that all-important event ROI. And that's down to richer data and the core statistics that are coming through. And that is in real time with virtual events. So it's a real benefit there.
Incredibly powerful, Jess. So, really, what are the reasons to sponsor virtual events today? And it hasn't changed. The reasons to sponsor a virtual event is to connect with your audience. And really, there has never been a more important time to do so. What we're finding is that many sponsors want to increase their brand perception and generate leads, as well as drive sales. We don't feel that virtual events will be just another passing fad. Technology is becoming so much more sophisticated over the years, and we feel it's here to stay. These goals will remain even more relevant, even without face-to-face events. So Jess, tell us the ways to ensure successful virtual events, and what are companies out there doing today to make sure that their virtual events are successful?
Sure. So from my experience, it's really all about the engagement and creating the right attendee experience. And I think the virtual event platform plays a real crucial role in delivering the user journey and experience. And it's not just active during the event, which is key to remember. You can actually get this engagement pre and post event through a virtual platform. There are other aspects that are equally as important to bear in mind. Event organisers can provide very detailed and customised experiences with virtual events, which means they can really target different personas, different segments of audiences, and create content for those specific audiences. And that doesn't just benefit the organisers of the event, but also sponsors or partners that are looking to get involved, because it means that if they've got specific audiences they want to target, it makes it a lot easier for them to do so. The other great thing about a virtual event platform is you can create very detailed executive reports in real time, which shows where an attendee goes to, what they click on, what kind of content they digest throughout the event, which is very specific information and can be really useful to both organizer and sponsor. And it does give you the opportunity to personalize an attendee's experience. It means you can target them after the event with relevant content and just make the whole experience for everyone very useful and relevant. The other thing I do want to remember is, or remind you all, is that during an event you can actually host live surveys and polls, which is another aspect that in-person event doesn't always allow you to do. And please don't forget that post-event you have, with a virtual event, on-demand services. So everything that you've got on display is available to attendees to access post-event.
Absolutely. And despite the fact that traditional face-to-face sales pitches change, virtual events still present a valuable way to engage the target audience and offer a measurable visibility. So there's many ways that you can get involved in virtual events as a sponsor or a partner. You don't necessarily have to be the headline sponsor, but you can participate by having a virtual sponsor booth. In most cases, there are agenda sessions with branding and also simple logos and banner ads throughout the live show. So whatever the opportunity is, it's really important to get your name out there on the screen, literally. And with virtual events, you can create a branded online space within the virtual environment or a booth, just like an in-person event, that in most cases is visible for months after the event for attendees to keep coming back. Attendees can also view your information and content beforehand and head to your virtual booth prepared. Those who are unable to attend the live virtual event can still interact with you, so you can drive new business opportunities long after the event has taken place. We also find that many virtual events offer one-on-one meetings via video conferencing, and you can also conduct your own gatherings outside of your booth. Virtual events offer much more insightful analytics to measure engagement effectiveness. As a sponsor, you get real-time data during the post-event. This includes who has entered, what they have clicked on, and who they are. You simply don't get that in an in-person event. So let's talk about the best practices for virtual events and developing a booth strategy. What you're seeing here is a typical example of a lobby or entrance of a 3D virtual environment, which we are seeing more common in the market because you can meet in a virtual space, allowing almost real interaction. Plus, the benefit of a 3D environment is that it simulates what you would expect in an in-person event. As you can see here with the platform, it offers interactive navigation, gamification, so the ability to win prizes, premium branding, and more. They can then click through via the expo hall to your booth. So what you're seeing here is an example of what a virtual booth looks like. And as you can see, it looks very similar to what you would expect in an in-person event. The example here includes live chat, as we previously mentioned, the ability to upload product videos and demonstrations, downloadable content such as white papers, special reports or infographics, as well as fully customizable backgrounds. So you can really customize any element of the booth experience that meets your branding look and feel. So here are a few best practices. From what we've found, getting the most out of your booth involves looking at the opportunities in customizing the design and different branding options. Adding the right content and staffing is also crucial. We would recommend using your branding as much as possible throughout your booth, and the booth can be fully customized to meet your branding needs. We also recommend adding relevant content, such as digital catalogs, as we mentioned, and white papers, special reports, and it's important to give attendees as much information as possible. You can actually upload up to 100 pieces of content at a time. We also recommend scheduling a demo or an appointment option, both during and after, so attendees can discuss their requirements with you in more detail. Another thing that people forget is to remember to invite attendees to a webinar outside of the event. Another great opportunity is to post a job opening if your company is hiring as well. So lots of ways to engage and interact with your audience in the platform and also outside of the platform as well. The virtual environment will also allow attendees to both navigate to your booth via the expo hall and click through via the search bar functions. So remember to add as many relevant keywords to your booth as possible. Each booth also has a live chat function, so you can engage with attendees visiting the booth either via a public message board or via private text chats with your booth staff. We also encourage creating dedicated office hours or meet the experts sessions throughout the live event days as well. We would also recommend that you link to your social media or external sites that you may be setting up specifically for the event. This could be a technology environment or a lab environment to invite attendees to interact outside of the platform. So, Jess, what are other ways that we would recommend that sponsors consider?
There's some fun ways, actually. So you can look at gamification, and we highly recommend using things like games, competitions, prize giveaways, and that's very attractive and compelling for attendees, and it gives them a reason to come to your booth to find out a little bit more information and to take something away. So if I take the example of virtual swag bags, and with Farm Journal Field Days, you can actually add something every time somebody passes by your booth, essentially. So that could be a digital catalogue, it could be a discount off a product or a service, and attendees love that. They love to take things away. So it's another way to provide another function on the virtual event platform to drive attendees to your booth.
And one important factor to remember, Jess, is that engagement doesn't stop when the event finishes.
That's right. Unlike in-person events, virtual events keep giving, essentially. The content is there long after the event. And if I take the example of Farm Journal Field Days, the on-demand service will be available for up to 12 months. So it means the marketplace is there continually for all sponsors and exhibitors, and it drives customers continually to their site. So it gives you a long-term strategy, which sometimes with in-person events you don't get.
Absolutely. And we typically see that 30% of attendees visit the expo hall floor throughout the event, and many attend on demand, as we've mentioned, that don't end up attending live. So Jess, tell us a little bit about why Farm Journal Field Days.
So Farm Journal Field Days has a very robust marketing plan. So they have over 50 million monthly touch points, and with the platform, it supports a very immersive and interactive 3D environment, which from a viewer's point of view is very compelling. It also offers the ability to create different booth spaces, which, as James mentioned earlier, you can customize and personalize and add as much content as you wish. There are also other areas to look at. So we've got content pavilions, which offers you more exposure to your attendees. And these are the areas where attendees typically look for learning. So there'll be presentations from key speakers, which are great areas for extra branding. The other thing is we have real-time reporting. So the virtual platform gives you the ability to track your audiences across multiple touch points. So not just your exhibition booth, but also other areas within the show that they click on, you'll be able to download that data.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think the content pavilions is really something that separates this event unlike anything that we've seen before, as well as the real-time reporting portal and ability to track audiences across multiple touch points. So we wanted to talk about the process for setting up your virtual booth. So we have a space builder tool that is designed to walk you through the setup of your booth step by step. Really easy to set up a booth. It normally takes about an hour or so. And your sponsor services team will provide a best practices guide to help sponsors throughout this process. So we actually make it incredibly easy, and we'll be opening up this service at the beginning of August. The Booth Builder tool is an easy way to navigate assets and can be uploaded to the booth, as we mentioned, with just a few hours. So more information on that. But we also wanted to add that you can join us on Thursday, July the 30th at 3 p.m. Central, where we will actually be going through a dedicated training session for sponsors of Farm Journal Field Days on ways to set up their booth and navigate the platform. So make sure that you hold that date on your calendar. Really exciting, and we're certainly looking forward to working with a number of sponsors. I think that's all the time that we have for today. Thank you again for joining us. And remember, please do join us again on Thursday, July 30th for our sponsor webinar at 3 p.m. Central Time. And don't forget to remember to register for Farm Journal Field Days at farmjournalfielddays.com. Thank you.
Thank you.